After careful research, I've come to the conclusion that the third level of the Scarlet Citadel has a mortality rate of 60%. Hi there fellow roleplayers and game masters, my name is Mr. Trosk, and today I want to do another video on the Scarlet Citadel. Yes, another video on the Scarlet Citadel. I've been doing a video series on the Scarlet Citadel and how my players are experiencing running through the Scarlet Citadel. And when I say running through the Scarlet Citadel, that's exactly what they're doing, because my players cannot take one hint and actually go back to regroup and heal up and stock up on supplies and that kind of stuff, which this dungeon is clearly made for. Because today we have something special. We have our first player character that's in the Scarlet Citadel, and it happened in level 3 of the dungeon. Now, my players have been lucky countless times up until this point. I expected the TPKs or player deaths to happen much earlier with the style that they're going through it. There are a bunch of murder hobos, I'm just gonna say it, there are a bunch of murder hobos kicking in doors, killing everything they think is evil, trying, like, pulling every lever, jumping over every pit, doing every little challenge, and never going back to regroup or stock up on supplies. And this time, it actually happened. 3 of them died. Now, last week I did a video on a situation they got themselves in. A really shitty, sticky situation that they got themselves in, and that I didn't really know if they were going to survive or what was going to happen because they got themselves in that situation. Now, I'm not the kind of game master that goes out like just outright murdering my players or my player characters. At least, I don't find that a fun aspect of the game at all. But when players' characters get in trouble, they make stupid decisions, they don't take hints and all that stuff, that is going to happen, and it is an important part of the game, to my opinion. Death should always be a threat when you go into a dungeon, when you go out on adventure. If there is no threat of death, then I personally don't find the game very exciting. So if you want to know exactly what they got themselves into, make sure to click that video of last week, but I will summarize it really quickly. Basically, the third level of the Scarlet Citadel are old dwarven barracks, but these dwarven barracks are now occupied by trolls, a war band of trolls. To be exact, 12 trolls, of one of which is a commander, but they also had a battering ram, which on top of it, a repeating ballista. If that doesn't say turn back and go make a plan, I don't know what will say turn back and go make a plan, right? They had this entire entrance of this level of these dwarven barracks barricaded with like wood and old shields and swords and all that kind of crap. And just like to say, like, stay out, adventurers. Just stay out, because otherwise we're going to have to pound your freaking head in. Now, 2 of my players decided to go knock on the door. Literally, they took an axe and they started chopping away on that barricade. Then one of my players, my girlfriend's character, peeked over the thing. Of course, with the other 2 people making a lot of noise, bashing away at the stuff that is there, at the rumble. All of the trolls came to like the entrance, and there were 12 big ass trolls with crossbows and axes and a warlord on top of a freaking battering ram with a repeating ballista on top of that. They decided to start tossing Molotov cocktails at them, and then they thought it was a good idea to act as if they were going to go away, but then go to through a portal, through like a spell that they cast with a door, like a teleportation thing, step through the portal, toss one more Molotov cocktail as a decoy, step through this portal, and end up inside the dungeon, behind the trolls. 12 of them. Not one of them. 12 of them. So they expected, like, if they are then occupied with like attacking us back where we are not, we are behind them and we can keep running. Little did they know, they ran into a storage room, a big ass storage room where there was only one exit, which was closed, and there were 12 trolls with a battering ram with a repeating ballista. They turned around and they saw them, and they were going to kill them. That is what happened inside the Scarlet Citadel to my players. So my players immediately started doing all kinds of crazy shit, right? So because they knew, like, if we're going to get into melee range with this warband, we're going to die, right? So what my players did was they started, like, doing stuff with the door and tried to open it. One of my players just sat on their knees, started making Molotov cocktails while a warband of orcs was coming at them. She was like making Molotov cocktails. Two other players were just like using their hands and spells to take all kinds of rubble and stuff and crates and all that kind of stuff from the storage room to build a makeshift barricades. So I give that barricade a few hit points, and shit hit the fan. Now, two of my players actually they actually succeeded in this is a really funny part. Two of my players succeeded in sneaking out of there because they were able to open the one door and then sneak through another room back to the entrance because they were 100% sure that there was going to be another door where they entered the dungeon and they were going to be able to flee through that door, which they didn't find. They didn't find a door there. Now, I'm not going to say if there is a door there, yes or no, but they didn't find a door there because they kept rolling 1s and 2s on their D20, so they kept, like, failing, actually checking that stuff out. Now, the way that they snuck past is really funny. I have one player who's pretty good at sneaking, so she was sneaking through the dungeon, and then I had another player, Sam, who's always, like, super, like, he always has, like, super out-of-the-box ideas with, like, abilities and spells. He has, like, spells and abilities or spell-like abilities, but he uses them in really original ways. What he did was, he literally cast Levitate, and then he held on to the collar of the other player. So she was sneaking past the trolls while the other dude was just, like, hanging from her and just, like, going with the flow, literally. Because he was levitating, he wasn't making any noise from stepping or whatever, so, and he was just, like, following the other girl. So, those two got out alive. Safe to say, the other three didn't. Now, I just want to quickly take this time to congratulate the other three players for almost literally sacrificing so the other two themselves so the other two could get out. Not the first person who died. Gun's character just died. Straight up died. I did a shit ton of damage because they just waited until the trolls got to them, and then I did a shit ton of damage and he was just like, yeah, I'm dead. And by the way, we're playing the Cypher system, so death works a little bit differently. But he just died. There was like nothing really, I'm sorry to say it, but there wasn't like nothing really super special about it. But he was a great guy. And he died. And I'm gonna completely admit, I didn't expect to like one-shot him. Or like kill him right there. So I wasn't really like prepared for it at that particular point. So what was left was a dwarven priest and a spellcasting a sorcerer type character just standing there surrounded by 12 trolls. They were able to burn down the ballista while they were coming at them with like fire spells and all that kind of stuff. But the 12 trolls were all still alive. They didn't take any damage and they started bashing away at them. And my girlfriend's character didn't know any better to just drop everything, take out her whip, and started swinging around with her whip just to buy time for the other characters. Also, my girlfriend's character has this little Groot-like plant that she holds that gives her advantage on perception checks, which she gave a magic item, and she made that run towards the other party members, right? So like give that magic item to them, which was a super heroic move. I absolutely loved that move. And the dwarf, same thing, a male dwarven cleric played by a female character, which is always really cool. she played that dwarf like super stubborn and masculine and like over the top, which I really like. I really liked the character. So she or he didn't know better than to just stand behind my girlfriend's character, put his hand on her shoulders and just start healing away at her just to buy time while she was whipping away, and this Greek creature was running through the legs of the trolls to the other party members. The other party members picked up the magic item and they get the fuck out of there. Sometimes you, as a game master or like your monsters or whatever, you kill characters or characters die and it feels really shitty, and there wasn't like anything really special about it, or wasn't anything really cool about it, and that sucks. Other times it's actually an incredibly cool moment in a game. My last TPK was on a ship and the ship just sank from a battle against a water elemental, and that felt shit. That really felt shit. This felt actually super heroic. I was a little bit kidding about the first character who died. He did some cool stuff before he died. He started flying up and started throwing his axe at the ballista, hoping to like make the string of the ballista to cut it in half by throwing his axe. He did all kinds of like battle type stuff, but he just didn't make it. And it really was this this moment of where 3 people stay back in order for the 2 other people to be able to get out of there. And I really love that about this party. I've been playing with these characters for such a long time. They didn't have like many player deaths for such a long time, but this one, it really counted, and it really counted, and I really like that about this moment. Now, I hope my players have learned their lesson about the Scarlet Citadel not being a murder hobo friendly dungeon. They are only at level 3 of 6, and it's going to get harder, it's going to get more gruesome, I'm even like taking away stuff from this to make it easier, and it's still freaking hard. There's some like insta-kill or game-changing stuff in here that I don't like. I don't like insta-kill effects, and I don't like game-changing effects. I don't like my players going 3,000 years into the future suddenly and have to change everything around and my entire plotline just dies, right? I don't like that kind of stuff, so I take that out. But the Scarlet Citadel is an incredibly well-designed dungeon. As long as you guys keep listening to me rambling about my players inside Scarlet Citadel, I will keep making these videos because I really like making these videos. I have nothing scripted when I start recording them. I have nothing prepared really when I start recording them. I just ramble away about what happened in my games. If you want to get the Scarlet Citadel or any Kobold Press book of yourself, click the link in the description below. It will give me a few percentages of whatever you buy, and so that helps me out as a YouTuber. And until next video, bye-bye.